Today I want to walk you through the differences between the Aqua Blaster and the Aqua Thrusters. I would call these the most frequently asked questions when a customer is trying to make a determination between the two. Now, a different video discusses the actual mounting options. This video is talking almost exclusively about the motor themselves and the differences. It can get a little confusing, and so you'll have to bear with me. I really haven't thought through exactly how I want to describe these. It's very clear with a visual, and so I'm hoping that I accomplish the differences. First off, I want to say that they're both very good pieces of equipment. I recommend them both highly, but when it comes down to making a decision between the two, it really comes down to you as a customer to make that decision. So the first thing I want to point out is on the left is the Aqua Thruster, on the right is the Aqua Blaster. The first thing that you're going to notice right off the bat, and I will show some different angles here, but the first thing that you're going to notice is that the Aqua Thruster on the left does not have water throughput or flow coming from the back side. The Aqua Blaster on the right, you can see that you can see right through the back of the unit itself. So the water has to come through from the back side. I should also point out that right now we're standing in an area that if it was on and we were turning, we're in the water would be flowing directly at us right now. So that's the first thing to point out, and you'll notice that they both have a cage. The cage is on the back side of the Aqua Blaster, and I'll try to point this out. So the Aqua Blaster back behind there, the Aqua Thruster right here is the cage, and the cage is designed, of course, to keep the weeds out from catching on it. Now the Aqua Thruster on the left works a little bit more like a venturi. The water catches from the side and then gets blown through. The Aqua Blaster on the right, it comes out through the back. It comes from the backside out through the front. It has more of a barrel effect, and so sometimes I think of it as more of a rifle approach on the right as well, and on the left is a little bit more of a shotgun blast. It kind of spreads out wider in its flow. Now the next thing that you'll notice, and it's really not until you see it in this angle that you see the what I'll call a massive difference in the propellers. Down on, you see the left with the Aqua Thruster is a much larger propeller, and as you might expect, then that does create a much greater amount of water that's being flowing through it. On the right is the Aqua Blaster, much smaller prop. With that, I want to point out that because sticks, well, not sticks, but there is some debris that might come through the back side of the Aqua Blaster if it fits through the cage, and so I don't think I can give a percentage, but there is a small percentage of people with the Aqua Blaster that do have to replace their prop, and at the time of making this video, the prop cost is $17. Typically it's not a big concern. I mean, it's a hassle when it happens to have to change it. It's a hassle to, the 17 bucks is 17 bucks, but it's the hassle of changing it. The Aqua Thruster, on the other hand, with that much bigger prop, is a much thicker material, and because things don't fly past it coming from the backside, it's unlikely that the prop will ever break. Now, that prop we charge about 3 times as much, but I would say that it breaks much less than 3 times. How should I say it? Less than 1/3. So in other words, your chances of ever breaking that more expensive prop is very slim. But I still look at it and say, if it costs you 45 to, including shipping, let's say it costs you 55, 60 bucks for as few times as it ever would happen, I think it's a better bet. Now you can see the cords, and if you should watch the other video that would describe the differences in cord lengths and cord length availability, as well as the cost of those different cord lengths. You'll notice that the cord on the left, the Aqua Thruster, is black. It's round cord. The cord on the right, I believe some people would call that a Romax material. I don't know that specifically, but it is a flat cable. It's kind of a bright blue. And both of them are designed obviously for underwater use. Always, always, always use a GFI. If you don't know what that is, you should do some research to understand what a GFI is on your electrical. And matter of fact, I have one right here. I would always recommend that you know that your GFI is working, and this is a little tool. At the time of this video, we may or may not have those available. Something that we do, can point out that it can be used to determine if you have a GFI that's working. But I can't stress that enough. Now, another thing I want to point out is the difference in the pipe or the pole when we're talking about specifically a dock mount. The Aqua Blaster has a much heavier duty pole than the Aqua Thruster. It's also more of a polished up pipe, and at the same time, for shipping purposes, as well as really what kind of strength is needed for this, is not much. And so the aluminum one, the lighter duty and lighter weight on the left with the Aqua Thruster, is more than adequate. We have had some people that have compared them side by side and were disappointed that it didn't have quite the quality that the other one had, and I've had other people that have recognized the fact that what does the quality matter in a pole that's not going to ever get bent anyway, as well as some people don't want a bright shiny pole on their dock, polished, because it just adds, it becomes more obvious, and people don't like, they like as few pipes and poles as possible on their dock. So those are a few of the differences. Now I'm going to move the camera, might get a little jiggly here, but so you'll see the difference in the cords. You see the difference in the props, and this, really, if I change angles right here, you might see a little better the difference in those prop sizes. It's really quite dramatic, actually. Now I also want to show you the back side, so you can see that in this particular case, there is the side view right there of the Aqua Thruster, and then here is the side view of the Aqua Blaster. So you can see that the water flows from the back through there and then out like that, whereas here the water basically comes right through here and then kind of goes through and then out. So it's a different concept. Now when we're comparing these two side by side, you'll see that in size wise, because of that barrel approach, the Aqua Blaster is much longer. I forget my numbers, I believe that's 22 inches long from the back of the cage to the front of the barrel, and this is about 16 inches, so much different in that regard. But from my perspective, and hopefully from your perspective, what does that really matter? You're really looking for performance. So give you a couple different shots here. Shows you what would be the water coming straight at us, as well as again here the water coming straight at us. Now another thing that can be a little frustration is that both of them can get weeds wrapped around. So in the case of the Aqua Thruster, you could have weeds wrapped around here, and yet at the same time the prop is going to get plenty of water flowing at it. In the case of the Aqua Blaster, you'll get some weeds wrapped around the cage there. It won't let many go through, but then you can also have it wrap around those motor supports that are in there. So my goal here, I love both of these products. It's been a savior for my shoreline, for hundreds and hundreds of our other customers. Actually, I'm sure that rate goes into the thousands over the years. But hopefully I've answered a lot of questions that can steer you to making the right decision. Should also point out that the Aqua Thruster has a 2-year warranty. The Aqua Blaster has a 5-year warranty. But both of them are designed for commercial use, and you and I in our homes will probably never push it to their maximum. Thanks again.